All right. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning, everyone. Welcome, 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 everyone, to today's CFA Live session. And I'm so delighted to be here, and I hope you are. So we see some familiar participants coming back with us today. Thank you so much, Lonnie and Robert and Marilyn. And all right. Good morning. What a blessed day. What a blessed day. So feel real free to turn your cameras on and because I know behind every one of these names there is a beautiful soul. Yes. Yes. Come on in, everyone. Yeah. Hello, Miss Davenport. Good to see you. All right.
Good to see you, Oliver.
Thank you. And good morning, Marilyn. All right. All right. And is that Robert? Yeah, that's Robert. Good morning, Robert. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Well, we're going to jump right on into today's session. So good to be here. So good to be a part of this community. And we just hold up the community leader, Bill Free, this morning as he's traveling out of the country, uh, doing some very good work. And we're going to be the beneficiary of his trip at some point as they are doing some filming with Mr. Muji. So so we're gonna definitely benefit from the time that he's spent. I think he's over in Portugal, if I'm correct. So we just pray for him and his partner that's with him that they have a safe travel. Yes, yes, yes. All right. All right. So listen, we're gonna jump right in and continue our study this morning. And this when I first decided that I wanted to go down this lane, this study on the subject of identity, where the course and most uh, traditional religious paths as well as non-duality, uh, put a tremendous amount of focus on identity and knowing who we are. And like I mentioned about every week, that I'm a staunch believer that if that is the solution to the peace that we all would love to enjoy in every moment of our human experience. And but where there is a lack of knowing, a lack of knowledge, the Bible says that my people are destroyed for a lack of knowledge, or my people suffer needlessly because they're not intimately acquainted with their true self. And so when we're not aware of who we are, then we the next step is to what? We got to make up something. So we spend our whole life trying to become something that we're not, and there's no joy in that. There's no peace in that, and it creates a world like in a history like it's insane sometimes when we experience um, a divided world, a separated world. We look at all the other parts of creation, and we see that the animals are at peace, right? They are not worried, they're not fearful, they're not bickering and fighting one another. You look at the You look at the stars and the moon and the sky, and you don't see any disruption or disharmony there, right? It seems like every day it's peaceful. The sun rise, sunset, the stars shine, and even when there's storms, right? Uh, it doesn't really change the nature of the astrological uh, part of life. And you look at nature, you look at the plant kingdom and our vegetation, and you just see and can almost count on it that, like most of you probably experiencing springtime, and I hope, or even a little summer by now, that I mean, you can almost take it to the bank that nature is going to do its thing. The flowers are going to bloom, the trees are going to bud, the grass is going to grow, and we're going to have to mow, right? I've been mowing more than I like to. And it's like you can count on that. And it's not fighting, there's no bickering, there's no war, there's no destruction going on in that part of creation. But then when it comes to humanity, and scripture said that we are God's highest creation. We are it. And if um, you look at scripture and other modalities, it says that we are even gods. We are even gods. I remember the scripture that Jesus was talking to the religious folks of his time. He said, "Have you not read that ye are gods? Have you not read that this is who you are?" So it was always about reminding us about our true identity. And but we have the biggest problem. We have the most conflicts, the most um, we have the most mental illness and all of the different things that doesn't look like life more abundantly, right? We experience it in the human experience, and we see the atrocities. We see I mean, we don't have to read our history book. All we got to do is look out at today's news. And we wonder, where have we missed it, right? And I think that answer is that we don't know who we are, right? We don't know who we are. And so that's why I have chosen this subject, because I think as more people discover their true self, then the more of the collective body of humanity will begin to wake up, to awaken to their perfect creation, being love, which is our pure nature. And then what we begin to see inside, we will begin to see outside. And so the world will become more beauty, more alive to the true nature of love, right? So that's kind of my approach to these sessions. Well, so that's kind of where I want to start today. But for um, the purpose of a recap, remember we say that the goal of this study, Awakening to Love's Perfect Creation as You, uh, is to is for all of us to come to know ourselves, and in in so doing, you know, I think we end all suffering. We end all suffering, personal suffering, community suffering, national suffering, world suffering, and to awake us all up to a daily lived experience of love's perfect creation. Because if none of this really impact my daily life, then what's the point? Why should I invest? Why should I engage? So it's about having a lived experience of this, not just a concept, right? I would think everyone that's in this session has been on a journey for for some extended period of time. And if it's not helping, if it's not causing my life, or if it's not causing your life to be better, then what's the point of investing? So here we want to awake to daily practices that can help us, right? And so the one thing I also mentioned that I wanted to I want to honor your spiritual maturity, because most people here that comes to these sessions for Center of Awakening, they've been on a spiritual path for a minute, right? And so I honor the fact, not that I'm sitting here as a teacher, but I honor the fact that a lot of you all, and most of you all, I would say all of you all, have a level of spiritual maturity and could probably teach this class at some level. And it's my hope that someday that, um, and not that you're not doing it, but that, at some level you are sharing your spiritual maturity in your personal relationships or in whatever spiritual community that you're in. Or, I mean, that's what the light is for, to let it shine, right? And to give it away. And that's the nature of love. Love gives, right? And so I honor that in you guys, and I recognize that in you guys. And also, um, um, enjoying each other's during these sessions. And my goal again is to become unnecessary as a teacher by pointing you to your own internal teacher. Right? My goal is to point you to your own internal teacher, and so that I become unnecessary as a teacher. Right? And finally, the goal here of this course is, okay, I think I hit all the points. I think I hit all the points. So, um, remind you of the two foundational passages we use here out of A Course in Miracles. Section 1, paragraph 3, sentence 3, it says, "You are a perfect creation." This is the foundation for which the study is being based. You are a perfect creation. And then in the Bible, Matthew 5:48, where it says, "Be ye perfect, even as your Father, which is in heaven, is perfect." Uh, I said at the beginning of this study that perfect creation, the term perfect creation, is used 60 times in A Course in Miracles. And it's also, the word creation appears 343 times in A Course in Miracles. So that ought to tell us that this is a very important subject. And there is a section in A Course in Miracles and the section is called "What Am I?" And that's on page 479 in the blue book under the workbook lesson for students. And I just want to point you to this, because this is kind of like a good mantra to have um, for yourself, because I use it for myself when I need reminding, when I need to be reminded of my true self. Um, and again, it's on page 479 of the blue book. The subject called "What Am I?" and it reads like this: "I am God's creation. I am complete, I am healed, and I am whole. I am shining in the reflection of love. In me is creation sanctified and guaranteed eternal life. In me is love perfected, fear impossible, and joy established without any opposites." Because you remember we mentioned that there are no opposites in love. And we also said that from the scripture that perfect love casteth out what? All fear. And then it goes on to say, "I am the holy home of God. I am the heaven where love resides. I am holy sinlessness itself, for in my purity is God's own." So I use that as my own personal mantra from time to time to remind me, because I get off centered sometimes. I mean, sometimes I slip back into uh, my ego self, right, and let it take the wheel and um, And sometimes I have to remind myself, no, this. I'm headed for a wreck. I'm headed for an experience that I don't like, and this helps me to get back centered, um, into allowing myself to be reminded of who I am as love's perfect creation. This is kind of a review I'm doing, so just bear with me, and then we're going to get into what I want to talk about today. Then we talked about uh, mastery, becoming a master of our nature as love perfect creation. And we said that mastery is the practice of choosing love in every situation. That's what we're working towards. That is our daily practice, because every day all of us going to have opportunities presented to us to whether we have to make a choice for choosing either for love or for fear. Those are our only two options. And one is real and one is not. And so we said that there's only two emotions. And we say that word emotion basically is just the way it's presented. It's energy in motion. And the energy that we are in, if you ever want to know what energy that you're in, if you ever want to know what vibration that you are actually in the present moment, just examine whether we are um, examine whether you're feeling that you are in a state of being expansive or whether you are in a state of being contractive. That will let you know in every situation whether you are in a state of where you're choosing or in an energy of love or in a energy of fear. So there's only two emotions, love and fear, as the course says, and only love is real. Everything else is a misperception. Everything else is something that we've made up, or we've been conditioned, or we've been programmed to accept as reality, when in fact it is motivated by fear, and it doesn't put us in an expansive state. And so everything else is a misperception born of fear to be undone. And that undoing is our spiritual path. That undoing is our spiritual journey. That is our life work, to undo that which is that uh, that we made up. Right? It's like when you peel back. Um, what do we peel back? We peel back onions, right? What else do we peel back? Oranges. Well, yeah. So it's like when we peel back the facade, then we finally get to the reality, right? So when we peel back uh, the false identity and the false self that we have made, and ultimately only thing that is left is our reality. So it's not about spirituality. Is not about doing. Our spiritual journey is not about what we do. It's about undoing that which is not real, or letting go. The course calls it forgiveness, because once we let go of the false, the only thing that is left is the truth. When we turn on the light, when you turn on the light in that room, then you wonder what happened to the darkness, right? The light was there, right? So the light really was just exposing that the darkness was not a reality. It was a temporal. It was something that we were playing. We were having a little play, a little dance with trying to be something that we're not. And then last week we got on the subject of our innocence. But we can't get to experience innocence until we face the fear or the guilt, right? That um, we have chosen to play with, right? We have chosen to embrace as our own, the guilt. And we got into that a little bit. We said that innocence is having an inner sense of oneness, aliveness, beauty, and that we are connected to everyone and everything. And we said that guilt is a misperception, that we have changed ourselves into something other than the perfect creation of love. And Jesus said that in his dissertation, he said that verily I say unto you, except you be converted, or except you shift, or except you make a change and become as a little child, or become as little children, you shall not enter into the kingdom of heaven. Basically, we won't be experiencing love, we'll be experiencing fear unless we become as a little child, right? So we talked about the innocence of a child. So I'm gonna stop right there. That's kind of a recap of where we've gone from day one. But we said a lot other than what I just mentioned. And um, hey, I want to invite someone to come on. And if you have a comment about what we've shared so far, or if you have a question about anything that we have talked about, or you just want to just bless us with your gratitude this morning, this is the time to do it, right? Okay. Okay, Lonnie, you got it.
Oh, come on, because I've been away for a little bit and oh my goodness. I know you saw me smiling and smiling, and that's because I was literally, I guess, feeling overwhelmed. Wait, I have to hide my view of me because that's a little bit much. I have, for a month now, very much been walking a path of allowing myself to be led. And this morning, as I do every morning, after I had done whatever reading I was going to do, I saw the sunrise this morning. I sat down and just kind of asked into the creation, what's next? And so I opened up to say, oh, let's look at the calendar. And here you were. And very clearly knew I needed to come. And all of what you just talked about, although said in different words through me, is what has been flowing out through me to those that I'm working with. As recently as an hour and a half ago. And so I take this opportunity of being here as confirmation, as validation of the place on the path, of the path, because I'm walking in this constantly evolving experience of freedom.
Yes.
And knowing that and trying to see what it is that the Creator has me here. I know what I have been told I'm here for, but to actually walk that. So there's so much that you talked about just now that has literally flowed through and out of me into the people that I've been working with and had an opportunity to sit with. And I recognize also that as much as it comes through me, it is also for me. As my reminder, as this, I don't even know what I'm saying. I just needed to acknowledge um, this walk, I guess. 2 weeks ago, again, allowing myself to be led, I was led home instead of to the beach. And when I pulled into my garage, my fuse box was on fire. And me coming home kept my house from burning down.
Mm.
Me being willing to listen to the guidance that was being offered to me and not deciding that somehow I knew better. And I've been able to witness in my life these instances of, had I done something else, had I not listened to what was flowing through, the outcome would have been so completely drastically different in some cases. So I was led here today. I know just to confirm and to help keep me on my path. Thank you.
Wow. Thank you. And it's not as much as about what you're saying or not saying, but it's more about who you're being. And it is in it, our beingness, our innocence, our inner sense, right, of our perfect creation, of our radiant aliveness, of our beauty, of our
It's in the knowing
the
that
knowing.
that created you
Right. It's called author.
resides within you.
That's right. It's the true authorship. Like the Bible said, we didn't make ourselves, right? But the true author of our being in existence is that love.
And isn't that a part of what you were talking about when you were saying you were I'm not one who quotes who can do quote the quoting and stuff, but I've heard it before. Believe it or not, I grew up actually in a Christian household. But when you were talking about you are God, when I think of when I came into the recognition that that created all of this created me, and that there was no way that that light that I feel inside is not that created all of this. And when I started to realize, well, then I do create what is in front of me. I create the life I'm walking. And when I realized that I could be a part of that, that I was that, it really made me start creating differently.
Right.
It changed the story I told, or it changed everything. So for once, I'm actually seeing where, well, it's been other times too, where something like that in the Bible, I'm getting to recognize and walk it and understand the truth of what it means compared to what humanity has done to it. Humanity, of all that list of people, of things in the world that you listed before, humanity is the only one that is out of step with the awareness that it too is of creation.
Yes. We are the only part of creation that is stuck in an idea of separation and,
Yes.
or in denial of our true nature,
Mm-hmm.
right? That's why there's so much anxiety.
Mm-hmm.
That's why there's so much mental illness. That's why there's so much physical illness, is because we're not comfortable in our own habitat.
I'd like to offer too, though, that what society terms as mental illness, in the work that I've been able to do, what I found is that a lot of it is what they don't understand as spiritual sensitivities.
Yeah. Yes. Yes. Yeah. It's not an absence of love,
Right.
right? It's a it's a denial of it. It is a
Mm-hmm.
rejection of it. And when we reject our true nature, like we say, the reaction to that is to create, to not to create, because only love can create, is to try to
Mm-hmm.
make up something as a substitute, right? And it's like putting a 2-year old at the wheel of a vehicle. You cannot do but wreck and crash.
Mm-hmm.
But the good news is, even in the wreck and the crash, love is present. And
Well, because God is all.
that's right. And even the wreck and the crash become usable
Yes.
for our awakening.
Yes.
So we're actually in like a closed system. We can't get out of love. We can only fall asleep to it. But it's like the course says that eventually all humanity may not be in this lifetime. It may be 1,000 lifetimes, but it said eventually all humanity will eventually awaken to their true self. And
Yeah, because God never stopped loving humanity. Humanity stopped loving God.
that's right. Well, thank you
How's it?
for
Thank you.
helping jumpstart this session this morning. That was great. Beautiful, wonderful. Thank you. Thank you. Is there someone else that like to come on um, and add to this beautiful song we are writing? Anyone else like to share? Steve, you always have some insight for us. Or Miss
Well,
Davenport. Come on, Steve.
unfortunately, morning. Unfortunately, I just got on, so I'm not sure what you're talking about.
We just want to just bless us with your presence. You just give us a word this morning.
Hmm.
Let me ask you a question, Steve.
Hmm.
What are you happy and grateful for this morning?
Um, Interestingly, when I look at gratitude, I kind of leave out the four because to me, gratitude is just an energy field. And when the concept of gratitude appears in awareness, what also appears is just the incredible interdependence of everything, interdependence of humans, interdependence between humans and the environment. And the complexity and the intelligence of this interdependence is just kind of mind blowing and extremely humbling. So I don't really think of being grateful for this, grateful for that. It's just a feeling of the energy of gratitude that permeates everything. And the gratitude and the interdependence are pretty much the same thing. Interdependence and gratitude are when you sense the interdependence of everything and the intelligence and the incredible complexity, it becomes very humbling, and the feeling of gratitude just appears.
Yeah, I like that, Steve. When um, you were speaking, I was thinking of what the Course of Miracles said, that this is not a course to teach us about love or what love is or to define love, but this is a course about helping us to remove the blocks to the awareness that love is always present, that gratitude is always present. So it's not about something, but it's about the one thing that we all share. So I love that. I love, yeah. Thank you. Well, you see, you expanded my awareness on this gratitude thing. I may have to let this four go. I say I'll reframe that and say, okay, Steve, can you gratitude us? Thank you so much, Steve. Thank
Okay.
you. I really appreciate you showing up. For these sessions. You add, believe me, you add to what we are creating here, and it's not just for us, because remember, these recordings go out in all the CFA community,
Mhm.
and you guys help create the content uh, for helping others by sharing your own personal experiences, your feelings, your insight, right? So that's one reason I kind of initiate getting you guys involved within the conversation, because I don't want to just sit here and have a one-way conversation, but I want us to have a one-way communication, but I want us to have a conversation around the subject.
But
And
I also get a lot out of it, which is why I show up.
what's that?
Oh, I also get a lot out of it, which is why I show up.
Thank you. Thank you. I do too. That's why I show up. Okay. Thank you so much, Steve. And um, I want to recognize Miss Davenport. We're going to bring her on. I think I see her hand raised. There she is.
Yeah, thank you, Oliver.
Morning.
Good morning. Nice to be here. Yeah, I like to come here and listen to you because you speak truth and it speaks to me. And I usually stay in the, like, hidden with cameras closed because I'm on mountain time. So I'm barely like on my morning coffee. But I do take the treasures with me when I come. And what you spoke about is valuable. When you're saying about peeling, we usually use the onion as that, and remind, that mantra that you shared, um, to keep us grounded in our true nature, to keep us to remind ourselves when we're facing challenges, triggers, anger, emotions. Um, it's valuable. And so when you were saying, I am divine, I'm this, I'm that, and you're peeling the onion, I thought that what you're peeling is things of, like thoughts like, I'm unworthy, I don't have enough, this and that, instead of being in that negative talk, that mantra would work really nice. And I love what you share, Lonnie, about listening to your intuition, which is the voice forgot what you heard. And you did follow that guidance, and that was a beautiful story. And by the way, I love your background. Is that the Titicaca Mountain? Do you know the background that you picked? Is that the Titicaca Mountain in Sonora, Mexico?
I actually did not pick it. It is a film on the sliding glass door to that you can see out of, but people can't see in. But I believe that yes, that's the mountain in Mexico.
Yeah, it is beautiful because I've been there. I have a friend that has a house, and I have that view when I go there.
Mm.
Um, it's amazing. It's been in National Geographic, and it's a wonderful site. And I just want to say, I am blessed to be here. Um, and thank you. And thank you for remind us to being grateful about being grateful, Steve. Yes, it does really raise our vibration, the gratitude.
Yes.
Thanks.
Thank you so much for those inspiring words and for your gentle spirit. You are adding to what we're creating here, and I appreciate showing up for these sessions. I noticed you were pretty regular, and I just want to uh, let you know that you are a part of all of this, right? And you play a big role by being here. And hey, um, we're growing together, right? Right. So thank you. All right. Is there anyone else, Marilyn? Okay.
Hi,
Hey.
I just wanted to say I think when I last talked on this platform, I had told you about my son being quite ill. Um, and I think what Steve said about vibrations or energy, I've been noticing I've had depression, which I haven't had for a long time, but this is really around his circumstance that he has terminal cancer. And the depression, it's when you're down there, it's very hard to get out, but I've noticed the vibrations. That basically what it is being down in this density. And, I think listening to you and doing things like this is really to pull me back to center, and to remember that God, there's something on my refrigerator that said, trust in God and He'll do everything for you. And I think the do for me is important because I've always wanted to do things to, I don't know, it probably comes down to control, but I've been realizing that I can't do anything about this. And, I mean, these kinds of anchors coming on here are reminders to me to keep going back to my true self and the assurance of God and coming out of the ego, which is really based on fear, and going into the future and imagining what could happen. So this is really a centering for me.
Wow. Well, thank you, Marilyn, for sharing. Uh, you hit on so many good points there. When you talked about controlling or having control over things in our lives, I mentioned last week that, we talked about guilt. And I said that guilt is just a form of manipulation. And we manipulate for the purpose of trying to make something happen, right? In the way that we want it to happen. And guilt basically goes back to the root of what the Course says is that our belief in separation is the only thing that needs to be healed, right? But then it shows up in different forms, and guilt is one of those forms. And guilt is a form of manipulation where we want to control something versus, like you said, like the mantra on your refrigerator is allow the spirit, allow God, to orchestrate and to do. So it really comes down to what? Trust for all of us. And we all show up here every other week or whenever you show up at this community, because we all need a constant reminder. All of us. I mean, I show up even as the uh, facilitator, you know, to be reminded, right? And so, yeah, all of that is good. And um, you remember we talked about becoming a master of our spirituality, becoming this master of ourself, and that looks like choosing love in every situation. So even with your son in his situation, you have the two options: to choose fear or to choose love, right? And we become masters of our true nature, which is love, when we choose love in any and every situation, whether it seems to be a big thing or a small thing.
Mm-hmm.
And so the practice, we're always presented with opportunities to choose once again, like the Course said, where we have made a faulty choice before, we can make a better choice. Where we have chosen fear in the past, now we can choose love, and the results are not going to be the same. The feeling is not going to be the same. The energy level is not going to be the same, right? And so the good news is we can choose again and again
Again.
and again and again, right? And so love is always present. So that means that our freedom to choose is always present, right? And so that's what lifts us out of our self-induced state of feeling the heaviness or the depression or feeling like we've been unfairly treated or feeling like we are unworthy or undeserving. And that's that, because those those emotions or those energies are only indicators that we have to go back to the place where we chose. See, we have to go back to the place where we chose for fear over love, right? And atone ourselves by just simply choosing for love, right? And that's why I like this idea that out of all these sessions and everything that we do spiritually wise, the goal is to become a master of who we are, become a master of love, and learning how to choose love. in every situation, because we do have a choice, right? And we have the freedom to choose.
Oh, I'm sorry. One of the things I want to say that I'm grateful for is that before he was diagnosed, I was studying the course and I took Lisa's 40-day lessons. And one thing about that is that every day she would say, putting it into practice. And what I learned, I think the paramount thing that I learned is to watch my mind like a hawk. And, I think when you reach a time where there is fear, that I've been feeling like my faith is eroding. And I think recently I've said I have to get back to an anchor. And that's the one that I'm making the effort to practice again. And I am being forgiving of myself in that I may not remember it for a few minutes, and then I'll say, wow, I'm getting into anger at people, or even my interactions with my husband, which are more not just thoughts but interactions, that I have to get back to seeing when the ego is there, which feels like me, and getting back to identifying, that is that's ego. And I think that's the first step. It's like trying to take what I used to do as a discipline, as a matter of just the way I lived. And I had learned that. And I think the good thing is when you go through trials, and the blessing for me is that I can pull from that of what I actually practiced, because it's much more challenging. Um, I guess that's basically what I wanted to say.
Life is no more than a reminder.
Yeah.
Course says that enlightenment is but a recognition. But if you've never known, what do you have to pull from? All right.
Right.
Oh yeah. So the journey doesn't stop. It is ongoing. It is. It is. But like I say, we become more aware, and we become more uh, convinced and more dedicated to love than we do to fear. So it's about the undoing, right, or the letting go of those things that we know that don't serve us. Courting and courting thoughts and feelings and ideas that we know don't serve us, right? And so, hey, the good news is in all of it, you can never lose that which is true. I want to read something here. Thank you, Marilyn.
Yeah, thank you.
Before we close out, I wanted to read something here uh, that I that has to do with the innocence of a child. You remember we read the scripture where Jesus said, unless we become as little children, unless we become, and that's a profound statement. So, and this is related to our innocence, right? And so, the innocence of a child refers to the natural state of purity. Y'all remember that? Right? The natural state of purity, openness, and unguarded trust that children embody before they are conditioned by the world. It's a way of being untainted by guilt, by shame, by fear, or judgment. Children live in the present moment, right? I'm sure you guys have observed kids sometimes, just in just natural play. This is what he's describing. He said children live in the present moment. They're not worrying about the economy. They're not worrying about the stock market. They're not worrying about who's in leadership, or they're not worried about, what the prices of groceries. They're not worried, none of that. They're just what? They are untainted by guilt, and they live in the present moment. And it says children live in the present moment and they respond with honest emotions, whatever they're feeling in the moment, right? They respond with honest emotion and they see the world with wonder and with curiosity rather than with suspicion or cynicism. I'm describing how all of us experienced life before we got conditioned. All right. Would you agree with that? And then it says, spiritually, many traditions, especially A Course in Miracles, see this innocence not as something that's lost over time, which we think, as something that, but as something that is always true and at our core. So we can never lose our innocence. We can never lose it. It is untouched. It is the untouched essence of who we are. It is hidden beneath layers of learned beliefs and fear and guilt. To reclaim our own innocence is to return to a state of love, perfect love, to a state of trust, complete trust in knowing who we are, complete trust in that we didn't make ourselves, but we are the extension, we are the expression, we are the creation of love itself. And to a return to a state of freedom, that we have the freedom to choose in every moment. And we do choose in every moment. We do create, Lonnie, in every moment. We've always been creating. You've always created your own experience. It's just that we were not aware. We were not enlightened. We were not awake. Right? We had not shifted ourselves back to the state of the innocence of a child. We had taken on a false self or a false identity, and we began to miscreate, right? And to express something that we were not. And so getting back to that, it's not that we lost, you ever lose it. I mean, it's not possible. It's not possible for you to lose your innocence. It's not possible for you to lose your true identity. And then it goes on to say, to reclaim our own innocence is to return to a state of love, trust, and freedom, like a child who knows nothing of sin consciousness, but everything of joy. You know, without innocence, there can really be no relationship. So anytime that we see ourselves, let me check my time. Okay, I got 8 minutes. So anytime that we see ourselves separate or different or unequal to love or to God or to anyone or anything, we are in denial, right? And it's that denial that shifts the energy. It is that denial that bring in the negative, right, emotions, and that our human experience is turned from that of joy and creativity and a sense of value and worth to this image that we hold of ourselves that is not true. And so just think, I've been married 34 years, soon to be 35. And if my wife sense a level of inequality with me, or any sense of inferiority or superiority where I'm concerned, then we can't experience real love, right? You guys have intimate relationship with your children or your mates, and where there's this sense, where there's not this reality of purity, openness, and unguarded trust, then the fellowship or the intimacy or the oneness is not experienced. Likewise, with our relationship with our Creator. If we hold one idea about ourselves, that we're any different than love, that we're any different than God, that um, there's any sense of um, guilt or judgment, then there can't be any relationship. That's why it says here that it cannot be lost, because love can only create like itself, and there are no opposites in love. So who we are never changes. It is never changed. We can't undo what creation did. We can only rediscover it and align ourselves with it, and then become the expression of that in our own personal life. And that's what we've been called to do, regardless of the outside conditions and circumstances and situations. Because those things are fleeting, those things are temporary, and we become masters when we learn how to choose only reality, when we learn to choose only love in every situation. So hopefully this class and the other things that you're doing in your own personal spiritual walk are helping you to not only realize that, but to achieve that in your daily interactions with not only yourself, but with others. So so that you can really, like the scriptures say, um, walk in a sense of boldness, not arrogance, but you boldly um, um, boldness is talking about having confidence, because you've given complete allegiance over to your reality as the perfect creation of love. That's where the confidence comes from. And so I'm going to stop right there, so I can go on and on. I got so much more here, right? I wanted to get into some discussion on the impact of how guilt impacts our innocence by covering it up, not destroying it, but obscuring it. Innocence is our natural state, but guilt clouds our awareness of it. Guilt makes us believe we are unworthy of love, peace, and happiness. It leads us to hide, to punish ourselves, or to project blame onto others. Over time, guilt can harden into shame, causing a person not to just feel bad for what they've done, but to believe that they are bad. From a spiritual lens, like A Course in Miracles, guilt is the ego's primary weapon. It keeps us trapped in a cycle of fear and separation. But the truth is, innocence is never lost. It can only be it can never be taken away. It can only be forgotten. Healing comes not by atoning through punishment, but by remembering our innocence, our oneness with love, and forgiving the false belief that told us otherwise. All right. So we're at the top of the hour, and wow, where did the hour go? But let me unspotlight myself so I can see everyone. There is everyone. All right. Thank you guys so much for being here again for this CFA Live. I love you guys so much. I love this session so much. I love the subject that we're studying so much. And I just see all of us right? Growing together and really having that daily experience of choosing only love in every situation, right? Because that is who and what we are. So until next time, you guys be blessed, walk in your innocence, in your radiant aliveness, in your beauty, in your love, right? And choose only love. Namaste. See ya. Bye bye.